So yeah, I am back again, and we're going to talk about basketball in the Olympics. The Olympics has been very interesting. It hasn't been like, some of the past Olympics and all that. I was looking for a big story. I don't think I heard any big stories, but I don't know. It's not like I watched every event. But then, a big story would be a big story. It would mean that I would hear about it even if I wasn't watching. So I'm not to say that the Olympics has been disappointing. It's been incredible, especially basketball. If you ask me, the ending was just incredible. But before we get to the ending, let's move back a little bit. I would love to talk about South Sudan. South Sudan was just incredible. I mean, inspired so many African kids out there and just inspired Africa in general. And congratulations to the Nigerian women team, and they moved to the semis. I think played in the semis and all that. That was just incredible. I mean, these are strides moving forward. Africans are doing great, and then we have talks, the likes of what Dennis Schroeder talking about. He was being very, very careful, choosing his words very, very carefully because he did not want to offend anybody in the NBA. But what he truly was saying was, European players just have a better IQ when it comes to the game of basketball than in the US. Meaning in the US, it's a lot of athletic players, but the game is mastered, or it is getting mastered in Europe right now, meaning mentally. You don't have a lot of high jumpers or very athletic players, but they know how to read the game and exploit the game in a way that American players just don't. And I know it could be very controversial, but he was being very careful about it, not to offend anybody. But it's interesting, at the same time, I'm looking at, all right, so now we're looking at Europe. What about Africa? Africa is just what? Great athletes? They still do not know how to read the game. Is that the case? Well, I don't know. But I'll tell you one thing, very athletic. Very, very athletic. When you look at South Sudan, very athletic, and they can shoot lights out. Just incredible. I was just really, really happy with their effort. The bright stars, shining star. You're a shining star, no matter who you are. But yeah, they did great. Did great justice for the continent of Africa. And then we're looking at what? Serbia was incredible. The Joker was incredible. Bogdanovic was Bogdanovic was incredible. It was a hell of a game. That Serbia against US was a hell of a game. All right, but prior to getting to that game, let's move back a little bit. My thoughts were, obviously everybody kind of hinted that the US team would eventually win gold. I mean, this is not news, and it's not like, this is a spoiler or anything. I'm sure everybody knows that already. But prior to that, I know a lot of people expected, the US team to win gold. But then I was thinking probably any team that would give the US team a hard time would be Germany. I was thinking Germany as number 2, then Canada. I didn't think Serbia would be that big of an issue. I'm just being real with you. I knew it would be up there. I didn't think it would be that team. Like the way they played against Serbia, the way Serbia played against the US was just incredible. All right, so going back to that game was amazing. We all know that, Curry was struggling. A lot of people would say he was struggling. I didn't think he was struggling in totality, meaning him playing, but he was struggling shooting. But in terms of him and his gravity and how he got other people easy shots and all that, I think he was doing a great job. That's what Steve Kerr had him playing out there. Him and LeBron played a lot of minutes because it was needed, especially at times, after the group stage. And once they got into the semis and all that and things got a little tighter, that's when those guys played a lot of minutes. And that's when he actually became Stephen Curry, the Stephen Curry that we understand, not became, but you understand what I'm saying. I saw this one video, him with Ant-Man, and Ant-Man was like, this man just came here 3 days ago. This, meaning that Stephen Curry wasn't really playing like that prior. The first 4 games, and then the last 2 games, he just went off, especially the very last game. The very last game was incredible. I know the game against Serbia, people are calling it a Steph Curry game. But would you call the game against Serbia the Steph Curry game, or would you call the last game, the medal game, the gold medal game, as the Steph Curry game? Because I think I will call the last game. I mean, that game, he was nice. He dropped nine threes. We talking about he was hot. He kept the team competitive. I mean, if it weren't for Stephen Curry, I think Serbia would have ran away with that game. They came out there shooting lights out. They were just shooting, making almost every shot. Bogdanovic, three to the dome. And Melo was sitting right there courtside. And it was just what an experience for those people out there. I mean, what an experience we were having out here just watching via the television. I mean, sitting at home, it was just incredible. It was incredible. I was loving it. And then, yes, it eventually went down to the wire. I mean, it did go down to the wire, to the very end, even though they did not win by 1 point. I think they won by 4 points. But the game was tight all the way to the very end. Tight. Curry eventually closed the game. So he kept them in the game at the very beginning, and then he closed the game. And that was the game. And then we looking at what? The gold medal game. Came in, he wasn't shooting so great, but he was getting everybody involved. It was out there, just making sure, the spacing was right and all that. Because they were guarding him like Stephen Curry, because he's Stephen Curry. So that gets other people easier shots. And LeBron was doing his thing, and we're going all the way to the very end. Let's skip all the way to the fourth quarter. We're talking about once it started dropping those threes. That was just, I don't know, man. It was just something that you would see in a movie. This is something that you would see in a movie. Like, he was just absolutely incredible. Absolutely incredible. We talking about knocked down the first one. And I love the way he hit that one, because LeBron came down, and this is when, the U.S. was struggling trying to get buckets. They went for I think a minute and a half and hadn't scored at all. Lots of turnovers. Curry had 5 turnovers, and I think Bron had about 5 turnovers also, and things were just not working for them at that time. And I remember, watching the game, and I was like, Curry hasn't touched the ball in over 2 minutes. I think it was more than 2 minutes he hadn't touched the ball. But anyway, so Bron was coming down, and Curry came to set a screen for him, and he was being guarded by Batum, because Batum, he's a little faster, tall, but a little fast. He could guard somebody like Stephen Curry. I'm not saying he could shut him down, but he's a lot better than Yabusele, because he's bigger and stockier, and that's why he was guarding LeBron James. So Steph came and was going to set a screen for LeBron James, and immediately once he got there, what happened was Batum had to shut down that lane, or else, LeBron James would just have a straight drive to the rim. So what he did was he shut that down, and then Steph Curry was able to hedge and move to the side, and Yabusele was kind of stuck. Should I stay with LeBron, or should I go to Steph? Kind of caught in the middle. And then that's when LeBron went up in the air and passed it to Stephen Curry, and then Yabusele tried to go to Steph, and Steph just faked him and went to the side, relocated, and bang, knocked that 3. And that was the beginning of that magical 4 3-pointers coming at a time when the U.S. team needed it the most. And he closed that game. All right, I don't want to go play by play, all right, reliving that game. But all I'm saying was that was an incredible game. And Curry showed us one more time why he is the kind of player, the kind of incredible player he is, the once-in-a-lifetime type of player that he is. He showed us clearly, you know what I mean? Don't sleep on him. It was night to the rest of y'all. And the U.S. ran away with the gold medal. But mad props to LeBron James, deserving for him to win MVP, because he kept that team together. He did. He was clearly the leader, and I think everybody listened. I think if LeBron wasn't there, I don't think that team would have performed the way it did. I just don't see anybody else having that kind of power or that kind of cachet to actually glue everybody together. They were listening to him because of who he was, who he is, LeBron James. Exactly, right? And he did play like one of the best players out there. Like he definitely did. When they needed a bucket, he was out there hustling, trying to get a bucket. But Gershon Yabusele, why you had to do LeBron like that? Why you had to dunk on that old man like that? That's going to be your highlight, your life highlight, dunking on LeBron like that in a gold medal game. That was that was disrespectful. You don't do that to the king. But all in all, LeBron was incredible. Watching LeBron playing with Stephen Curry and KD was incredible. I know a lot of people were happy seeing that. This is going to be something that a lot of people are going to be talking about for a very long time. That was just incredible. That's all I could say. Man, Stephen Curry, why you had to do him like that? Nui, nui.